In this video, I'm going to go through how to find the gradient of a line that joins 2 points. And we've got these lines picked out. We've got BC, which is this line here, DL, which is this line here, GJ here, and HJ, which is here. So your gradient is the slope of a line. So if you've got a very high number of the gradient, that means your slope is very steep. If you've got a low number, it's very shallow. If it's positive, it's going up this way, and if it's negative, it's going down that way, always moving from left to right. We're also going to look at horizontal and vertical lines in this video, but that'll come up later. So let's start with our first one. We want to find the gradient of BC. We're going to be using this formula. M is your gradient, and this is the formula that you're going to use. y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. This is the same as doing your rise over your run. So if you know how to do it that way, that's perfectly fine, but we're going to be using this formula in this video. Our first line is BC. We're going to find the gradient of that. So we're going to start up with B and C. We always have to label our points first. So the coordinates for B are 6, 7. So that goes in there. And the coordinates for C are 4, 2. So that goes in there. If you want to learn how to do coordinates, that's in the first video in this playlist called Coordinates. Once we've found the coordinates of both of those points, then we want to label those points because we're going to be substituting them into this formula. Now this is the x and y coordinates for each of our points. So our first point is going to be x1, y1, and our second point is going to be x2, y2. And then we put that into the formula. So our formula is the gradient equals brackets y2 minus y1, close bracket. So we'll do that part first. So we've got y2, y1. So we're going to do 2 minus 7 in those brackets, following that formula. And we've now got x2 minus x1 at the bottom of our fraction, so that's 4 minus 6. Doesn't matter which way around you do these points, so you could have this as x1 and y1, this is as x2 and y2, it will still give you the same answer, so don't worry about which order you have them. So 2 minus 7 is minus 5, 4 minus 6 is minus 2. You put that in your calculator, you get 2.5, because it's minus 5 divided by minus 2. It's up to you whether you do this in your head or not, or on the calculator. I tend to do things in my head when I'm practicing, but in an exam or test conditions, I tend to use a calculator. Because I know that little mistakes can lose me marks in an exam, so I just want to make sure that I've done everything right. So that is the gradient of our first point. We're now going to do the line DL, which is this one here. You'll notice that this one is positive going up, and this one's going down left to right, so we should get a negative gradient when we put it in our formula. Start with the same thing. We get our coordinates for D, which is 2 minus 3. Sorry, negative 2 minus 3. And we've got L, which is negative 4, 0. So we've got x1, y1, x2, y2. Put it into our formula. We've got y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we've got y2, which is 0. Minus y1 minus 3, and we've got x2, which is minus 4, and then we've got x1, so minus x1 minus negative 2, all from here. Now 0 minus minus 3 means 0 plus 3, so that gives us 3, and minus 4 minus minus 2 means minus 4 plus 2, which gives us negative 2. 3 divided by negative 2 is negative 1.5. Now, what these gradients mean is that every one that you go along, you go up 2.5. 1, up 2.5. For this one, every one you go along, you go down 1.5. Along 1, down 1.5. So we've got our third point. We've got G and J. G has the coordinates 0, 0, and J has the coordinates 2, 0. So we've got x1, y1, x2, y2. Put it into our formula. y2 minus y1 is 0 minus 0, and x2 minus x1 is 2 minus 0. So that gives us 0 divided by 2, which is 0. And that's always the case for horizontal lines. So if it is horizontal, which means it's parallel to the x-axis, any lines that look like that, they're all horizontal, then it's going to have a gradient of 0, because every one that it goes along, it doesn't go up or down, it stays at the same place. Our last one is HJ. So find the gradient of HJ. H has the coordinates 2, minus 3, and J has the coordinates 2, 0. Put that into our formula. We've got y2 minus y1. Oh, sorry, have to label the points first. 0 minus negative 3. And then we've got 2 minus 2. That gives us 3 divided by 0. Now, whenever you divide by 0, that gives you an undefined answer. So if you put it in your calculator, it'll have some sort of thing that says maths error or something similar. So that gradient is undefined, and that's because it is vertical. So any vertical lines is going to have an undefined gradient. That's how you find the gradient of a line. Thank you for watching, and good luck for all your activities.